host, Peter Komendowski, and welcome to Surviving Bad, where we explore Iowa stories of survival, hope, and inspiration. Today we're talking about a love that never sleeps, and that's the mother's love for her son. Today we meet Ann and hear her story. She saw the world through another set of eyes, her son's, and lived through the tragic experience realizing love wasn't enough to save him. What she has to share may help you save a life. Let's meet Ann. Welcome to the show. Ann, give us a little bit of background on why you're here today.
Well, thank you for having me. I am here, unfortunately, because I did lose my son. I'm here to hopefully bring hope to other people who have walked in my shoes or have yet to walk in my shoes. It's a pair of shoes nobody wants to volunteer to put on, I'll tell you that. But basically what happened was after approximately 12 years of journey through addiction with my son, on November 1st of 2020, the Polk County Sheriff, and this was after he had actually made it into treatment and was clean for more than 6 months. And then the Polk County Sheriff pulled into my driveway Sunday after online church and delivered the news that is the worst nightmare for any parent to have to experience, that they had been called to a local dispatch, was called to a hotel in a neighboring city, and they, upon arrival, found my son deceased from an apparent accidental overdose. So I'm here because it happens to everyone, and I hate saying that, but it happens to so many more people than people realize, and there's a stigma surrounding that. And I will tell you, through most of my journey, I felt so alone. And after we lost him, after he passed, I have discovered that I'm not alone, and that there's so many people out there that are looking for hope. And it's a grief that nobody understands unless you've actually experienced it. And I'm there. I've got so much pain. I'm pouring it into a purpose at this point, because I have to do something with it. Otherwise, it will destroy me, and I know that.
You know, it's brave for you to come out, because I know it's only been about 1.5 years now since you lost your son, and you're really finally starting to come out and talk about it with the hope that you can help other people learn from this, so maybe they don't have to feel the same thing, because most people don't realize how many families are affected by this. And for you, it was pretty long term. How many years did you really struggle with your son and his addictions?
It was almost 12 years. The last half of that is where things got really, really bad. But he had landed on the streets and was hopping trains all over the country. And he was the kid that you saw on the exit ramp with a sign and a dog that said anything helps. I can't explain the heartache, the number of being up all night crying, not knowing, does he have what it takes to survive the elements? Does he have food? Are his shoes, do they still have holes in them? What can I do to love him unconditionally, yet not enable, but show my support and do everything I can to try and just wrangle him back in and get him help and let him know that he is loved, because they do face, when they are in that lifestyle, they face a lot of very poor treatment. It's stigmatized. I mean, that's the bottom line is they are human beings and people don't see them that way. But everybody is somebody, someone, and everybody deserves love, and everybody deserves to be healthy. And the trauma that leads up to the decisions that they make land them in a position where they no longer have a choice. And shame on people for not seeing them as human, because the effect that they have on a person, on how they treat that person, also has an effect on the families of that person, because we do hear about it. I mean, I knew everything that was going on with my son and who said what and how things went. And when the ones that did reach out to him and did treat him as human and actually showed some love and care, those were the ones that brought tears to my eyes through the journey, because I knew that there were still good people in this world. And it's hard to find those sometimes, but they are there.
And you said something to me is that you got to see the world through another set of eyes because you really did stay connected to him and he really did share a lot of things with you. What's that like?
It's bittersweet because I got to learn things from him that I would never have learned, obviously, because here I am in my sheltered little home, here in Iowa, and we take things for granted and we don't realize it. But he taught me, I can't even tell you the lessons that he taught me, but I can share with you that we did speak every day. I made it to where money was not going to be the reason why he didn't get help, because money is a big thing for people. And he taught me that money is really, it can be used for good things. So I'm not taking, but money can be really just the root of people not loving others. It can be the root of evil, to be quite frank with you, but can also be used for good if your heart's in the right place. So, but I got to see, when he was riding the trains, he would send me videos and show me the world and explain to me from his point of view why he was doing what he was doing. I also got to see the point of view of an addict trying to get out of the lifestyle and having to deal with the withdrawals, and understanding the people that he would engage with every single day, whether they were people like you and I that, go to work every day and pass by someone on the street, or whether it be another person that was homeless under a bridge, and the stories that they would share with him about their life and how they ended up there. So you got to see a whole lot through someone else's eyes.
We're going to take a short break and we're going to continue our conversation with Ann. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss this.
The black truck? Hey, Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
Hey, I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend. You want to see some photos of them that I took?
I don't.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
So yeah, I know, that's why I did it.
Hey, you're gonna get back to the top of the mountain.
Does that mean I'm gonna get back with Christina?
No.
Oh.
No.
While a lot is changing in our world, at Mediacom, our focus remains the same, making sure you have the fastest, most reliable connection possible. During this critical time, we know your needs are changing. You may be working or learning from home, relying on telemedicine, or finding new ways to keep everyone entertained. If you need more speed, call or go online, and Mediacom will double your speed immediately for as low as $10 more a month for 1 year.
Welcome back to Surviving Bad. I'm your host, Peter Komendowski, and we're talking about addiction and a mother's love. As Ann bravely shares her story, we're going to go back in time a bit and talk about some of the things that you maybe don't realize until it's much later. And to the best of your ability, can you sort of talk about how the problem started, what it was like when your son was younger, and maybe give parents an idea of some of the things they need to look out for?
Well, I can tell you that his father and I had divorced when he was 5. So he had to deal with what I'm going to call childhood trauma at an early age. And of course, moving into schools, you know how kids are. And so he had to deal with all of that stuff going on as well. I'm going to say when he hit probably early teen, preteen, I'm going to say is kind of when things just seemed like they started to change as far as his demeanor. And we actually started seeing a counselor back then. And that's actually, as we started proceeding on with teenage years and the fun things that come with that, and the change of friends, I did notice that. And it was just trying, because sometimes you don't, as a parent, have all the answers. And you try so hard to do what you believe in your heart is the right thing for the best thing for your child. And so at that point, we did start with counseling. And the counselor had told me at one point, you know, the one thing that always stuck with me is no matter what happens, from point A to point B through his life. At the end of the road, me as a parent, his advice to me was to do anything and everything, exhaust every effort, and do whatever it takes so that at the end of the day, no matter how things turn out, you know you have no regrets. So I was all in through his entire life from point A to point B. Literally, I was all in, and we did so many things that most parents were telling me I would never have done. And so I'm confident that we did try everything, but the end result was still heart-wrenching. So again, for parents who are out there, you know, I went by the book, meaning the Bible. I'm a woman of faith. My life was lived the way it was supposed to be lived. I did all the things I was supposed to do. Like, I tried so hard. So for those people who have situations where they end up in a position such as me today, you know what? It's not your fault. It's not your fault. There is a lot of guilt that comes with this type of situation. It's just hard from every angle. And to have another parent come up to me and say, you know what, me too, and to compare stories has been part of my healing process, which is why it is so important that we all talk about it. Talking about an overdose can save a life. That's on our t-shirts for the walk this year that we're going to be having. So that's what I want to encourage people. We have to break the stigma. We have to talk about it, because the stigma is what holds people back from getting help, whether it be the kid, whether it be the parents, the family. There's just so many angles. And it's important because everybody does need to get help if they're walking the walk of addiction, if they're the family of the person that's got the substance use disorder. It doesn't even matter which facet of that you are in. Get help. There's so many people out here that know we get it, and we're here.
Now, when your son was young and you first started dealing with counselors and stuff, did you see signs of substance use at that time?
You know, I really didn't. I don't know at what point he actually started using, but I know that he was hanging out with some folks that I'm pretty confident were probably smoking pot, drinking, that sort of thing. And I want to say that's probably where it started. But at one point early as a teenager, he had gotten into some legal trouble with some of the kids that he was hanging out with. So at that point, he was already in the system. So yeah, he didn't have much opportunity to do a whole lot outside of what he was being told to do. But eventually he got out of the system, and eventually he ended up going kind of off on his own and doing what he was going to do.
Well, we're going to take another short break, and afterwards we're going to ask Ann to share some more about not only the challenges she's faced, but that event that she's putting on that's supposed to inspire hope and help within the community here in Iowa. We'll see you all after the break. You don't want to miss this.
Today, more than ever, you need fast, reliable internet. At MediaCom, we want you to know you can count on us. Our fiber-powered 100% gigabit technology network was built for the future. We have enormous capacity and power, and 99.99% network reliability. So even though these are uncertain times, we're prepared, and you can be certain we'll keep your world connected.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here.
Wait. What?
I can't drive.
Why? My. Oh.
Welcome back to Surviving Bad. We're talking with Ann Breeding about the journey she shared with her son and her hopes to help parents deal and cope with addiction and loss. And you're doing this great event. Tell us a little bit about its history and what's happening this year in Iowa.
Thank you. So last year, it had been about 6 months after my son had passed, and I was trying to, basically, I was praying about how I was supposed to survive what should have been his 30th birthday. And in that, it was put on my heart, the word walk. So at that point, I reached out, I did some research, tried to find someone who knew something about how to have a walk, and found an organization that said, you know what, all you have to do is a mom who needs to do something, create a Facebook event page and show up to walk. So that is actually how last year happened. I reached out to one of my friends from church and kind of gave her the gist of what I was dealing with. And she said, you know what, I'm going to do this with you. We're going to lock arms and we're going to do it on your son's birthday every single year, because I know you and you're not going to sit at home and cry. You're going to be out there honoring your son and helping others just like he wanted you to do. So it kind of came full circle, and we did the thing at DMACC. Last year was what I call our first annual, which it was just overdose awareness walk. There wasn't a whole lot of bells and whistles, but I will tell you that it was what my granddaughter refers to as a miracle. So the weather was really bad. It was on a Thursday evening, and but my son survived the elements 365 days a year. So I just put a post out there and said, you know what, we're going to do this. I'm going to be there. Don't feel obligated. I have to walk, because that's what I felt that I was called to do. So I showed up along with what my granddaughter referred to as millions of other people, which I got a kick out of, because there wasn't millions, obviously, but there were quite a few. I was very, very overwhelmed and emotional over the turnout. It was so healing for me to see how many people showed up just to show their love, their support. The other families that I didn't even know that came, and I encouraged everybody to bring a picture of their special someone, and people were walking with their people. And I had a banner made, that just had some information on it. And so that was last year. This year, I'm a little bit more focused, just because I'm ready. I'm ready to fight in this journey, to bring hope to people. So this year, the words that were put on my heart were steps of hope. So that's where that came from. And May 20th, 6 o'clock, DMACC Ankeny campus. We'll walk around the pond. We will walk at 6 o'clock. This year, I have sent an email off to my church to see if they could supply a microphone, because again, talking about an overdose can save a life. And that is our goal, is to save a life, to help others who doesn't need hope, to bring hope to the families, to bring hope to the substance use disorder people, to bring hope to the people in recovery, just to come together pretty much as a family is kind of the way I look at it.
A little bit of backstory is actually, this has been rather sudden to get you on the show, but I was at church Sunday morning, and when I got done with church, there's some community coffee and donuts, and all of a sudden I see you had a post on Sunday morning, because we have a mutual friend, Linda, who's with Parents Addicted to Hope, and I thought, boy, this is important to you, and I've been tracking you, and you've been posting and moving, and I go, this person's really passionate, so I got a hold of you right away on Sunday, and we talked about this because I really wanted to help with your walk and what you're doing. It's such a huge moment as a parent and what you've gone through to put yourself out there like that, that I can't help but feel real proud of what you're doing and contribute to being one of those millions that are out there with you this year on a Friday. What's the date of your event this year, and where do people find it?
May 20th at 6 o'clock p.m., DMACC Ankeny campus on the south side. We're going to meet at the gazebo. We're just going to walk around the pond. I'm sure that I'm going to have something to say at that point too. And I know that there's other people in the community that have actually come forward that are wanting to be a part of it as well. So who knows what's going to end up happening. That's kind of my thing, is I never know what's going to happen. I just kind of, I know it's put on my heart, and I know what I need to do. And it would be really nice if the governor would show up too, because, I feel like we're friends now.
You had a chance to meet with the governor, didn't you?
We did have, I was working with Representative Losi, a state representative, and we worked together, and the governor, Kim Reynolds, did sign a proclamation recognizing Overdose Awareness Day, August 31st, 2021. And my granddaughter got to sit in the chair at the governor's office. So therefore, I feel like we're friends. And I just think it would be neat to have everybody. There's no holds barred. You know, I put everything as his mother, 12 years, I put everything, every ounce of energy I had to try and get him help. And now I'm putting that energy because I'm pouring my pain into a purpose. And there is so much pain. And I would so much rather have my son with me today and not have to be doing this. But his death was not in vain. And there is a purpose. And so that's what I'm doing.
You know, it's just wonderful for you to share this with us. And I hope the governor sees this and is out there as well. We're going to take a short break and invite Ann to share some final comments, insights, and advice, stuff that could really help you. You don't want to miss this. See you after the break.
Devices connect to the internet. You can feel it happening. Our digital world expanding with every breath. We're entering a whole new era of connectivity, and MediaCom will be ready to power it with one of the nation's first 10G platforms. We'll be bringing you more speed, more capacity, more security, and the power to do more than you ever dreamed possible.
Whether it's advice on managing your anxiety or tools to help you stay grounded, Coping-19 provides a range of resources and self-care tips to help you cope with this pandemic. We can help. Find the resources that work best for you at coping-19.org.
Welcome back. Today on Surviving Bad, we're talking about a mother's tragic experience realizing love wasn't enough to save her son from the consequences of addiction. Let's see what advice Ann has to share. Ann, this is your moment to talk to parents and people that may or may not be going through what you're going through, but tell them what they need to know.
My biggest thing, and some people may disagree with me, but again, this is from my heart. Love your children. Love your children regardless of what they do, where they are in their life. Love them. So many times I had heard my son say to me, Mom, it's when you're down in life that your family should support you and lift you up. And he did not feel that from a lot of people. But he had that from me. And I know that without a doubt. And he knew that without a doubt, which is why we were in contact every single day. And I have no regrets. So that's my main. Love your children. Be in their business. Figure out where they're at. If they Snapchat, you can order drugs on Snapchat and have it delivered without anybody knowing. Fentanyl is a big thing. I want to hit on that because your child may not have 12 years of substance use disorder, and they may have a headache at school or hanging out with a friend, and that friend happens to have something that is in a medicine cabinet at home that my mom uses for her headaches. And so why shouldn't I go ahead and take that because I've got a headache and it's got fentanyl in it and they're dead? It's a big deal. And all parents need to talk to their kids about that. Because it's not the way that it used to be when we were younger, you know, and people did this, that, and the other. But now you do this, that, or the other, and you're dead. So be in their business, find out what they're doing online, know who their friends are. There's so many different, but most of all, love them.
Yeah, we know that, you know, years ago, overdoses were sort of, in a way, they were sort of blue collar. They evolved over time as people's tolerance to the drug and desire for the drug went up. But now with fentanyl and some of these dangerous combinations, one person experimenting one time and it could end their life.
Yes, 253 people died each day in the United States in 2020. That is ridiculous. In Polk County, Iowa alone, last year, 2020, there was 134 substance use related deaths. This year, through November, we're up to 143. That's not including December yet. The numbers continue to increase, and it is knocking on every door in every neighborhood. I don't care who you are, where you live, what your job is, it's knocking on your door. You need to be aware. You need to be talking to everybody in your family, and you need to shout it from the rooftops before you end up in my shoes, because that's where I'm at. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing, not necessarily to save my son's life anymore, but to save your son's life or your daughter's life or your life, because everybody needs to understand how big this is becoming.
And this isn't just Ann talking, because really you speak for a whole lot of moms in Iowa. Not all of them brave enough to put their face out there and talk about this. How young do parents need to start talking to their kids about these risks?
Well, I can tell you that I see every day because of the network I'm in, that there's 12-year-olds that are dying. So there's no too young, in my opinion, to be talking about it, because they don't understand, and they need to understand so that they could be more cognizant when someone does approach them or find them online, to know this is dangerous, this will kill me, and maybe share it with a parent. You don't know, but it's a big deal, and it's happening younger and younger. And I also think that we should be in the schools talking to the kids. I really do. I think that everybody needs to be very transparent, talking about everything, so that when the child is approached, they know what to do.
So even in the schools, we need to teach them vigilance to make sure these kids are safe.
Absolutely. And they need to have Narcan in the schools for such a time if a child does accidentally do something that they don't realize that they're doing, and then someone finds them unconscious. There's something you can do for that, to help them breathe and bring them back before medical people can get to them, so that you can save your child's life.
All I can think of is what a world, what a world. Thank you so much for speaking out on behalf of the mothers, the fathers, and the children that are facing these challenges. And thank you all for joining us today. Check out our website, ahealthyiowa.org, and keep your eye on MediaCom MC22 for our next episode of Surviving Bad, where we explore the stories of survival, hope, and inspiration. I'm MediaCom MC22, your local programming leader.